With his handsome and cool looks, Yun is always someone people pay attention to. The busy life of a doctor keeps Yun further and further away from the idea of romance. However, when a coworker jokingly said that Yun would never get married, Yun stated that he was already engaged, which the coworker didn't believe. And the engagement ceremony is taking place today, arranged by his family. Because Yun had to work extra hours, he couldn't make it to the ceremony. Jinbei is a beautiful movie star who is admired by everyone. Her family has set up a blind date for her. She's determined not to go, even though her mother has called to urge her to hurry up and get there. After her filming job that day, Jinbei drove herself home in her car. Zhao Wei, a handsome young actor, was surrounded by a bunch of female fans after his performance, so he had to jump into Jinbei's car and ask her for a ride home. Driving with tons of confidence, Jinbei accidentally got into an accident. Jinbei hit her head hard, which caused her to fall into a coma, while Zhao Wei only got some minor scrapes. After being admitted to the hospital, Yun is assigned to be her doctor. Surprisingly, Yun starts looking up information about the beautiful Jinbei online. This is the first time Yuan Song has ever seen Yun pay attention to a woman. It turns out he realized that Jinbei is the fiancé that his family has arranged for him. That night, when he saw Jinbei holding her head in pain, he proactively went over to her. Unexpectedly, the anesthesia from her surgery was still affecting her, and Jinbei kissed Yun through the mask he was wearing, right after waking up from her coma. Jinbei was startled when she saw Yun's mask in her hand. Jinbei tells Wu Di that she definitely had her first kiss stolen. Wu Di immediately goes to find that doctor to settle the score, but she mistakenly thinks it's Yuan Song, which scared him half to death, thinking she was a crazy fan. When Yun came to check on Jinbei's condition, she realized that he was the one who kissed her yesterday. She had prepared herself mentally, but Yun didn't think about it at all and saw it as just an accident caused by the anesthesia. But hilariously, Jinbei thought that Yun had kissed her on purpose and then acted like nothing happened before going back to her hospital room. Wu Di, hearing what Jinbei said, realized that she had misunderstood Yuan Song. After she apologized to him, Yuan Song dragged Wu Di to the hospital director's office to explain the situation, but she ended up pepper spraying him, making it impossible for him to open his eyes. When her mom called to check on her, Jinbei realized that Yun was her fiancé. To get a clear look at Yun's face, Jinbei tried to secretly take off his mask while he was checking her, but she failed. Later, Jinbei sneaked into Yun's office. It was right when he was changing his shirt, which made them both super awkward for the other nurses to not get the wrong idea. Yun quickly pulled Jinbei into a corner to hide. After that, he hurriedly kicked her out of his office. On the side of Zhao Wei's management company, they were using the rumor of him and Jinbei being in a car accident together to try and boost his popularity by riding on her fame. They spread rumors that they were dating, even though Zhao Wei was against it. After Yun got off work and went home, his older brother came to visit. He hoped that Yun would take over the family business in his place. He also reminded him to take care of Jinbei, since it was their mother's last wish, and asked Yun to bring her home for the ancestral ceremony next month. The next day, Jinbei quickly called Wu Di, hoping she could help her get all dolled up so she could get revenge on Yun because he dared to skip out on their blind date. From then on, every day she would dress up super pretty, sometimes in an innocent style, other times elegant, and sometimes sexy, and then try to show up in front of Yun so he would notice her. But unfortunately, Jinbei only received indifference and coldness from Yun. This made her extremely angry, and she had to ask Wu Di to help her out. Wu Di reluctantly invited Yuan Song out for a meal, knowing he was Yun's best friend. She hoped to get more information about Yun from him, but before they could even talk, they both got completely drunk. Waking up after their drunken stupor, blushing and feeling awkward was the mindset of both of them about what happened the night before. Putting that aside, Wu Di hurriedly left because the news about Zhao Wei and Jinbei dating had spread all over the internet. Faced with Jinbei's questions about Yun, Wu Di just made up an answer, saying that he was a jealous person. She then quickly left, leaving Jinbei wondering where she had gone the previous night. Just as she stepped out of the room, Wu Di ran into Yuan Song, and they were both too embarrassed to look at each other. Zhao Wei's company had told him to visit Jinbei, and at the same time, he had to act affectionately so they could take pictures, making the rumors even hotter. Realizing this, Yun quickly pulled Jinbei into the storage room to avoid Zhao Wei. In the small space, Jinbei discovered that Yun was very afraid of spiders. A little later, A nurse wanted to go into the storage room to get something, which made them both super embarrassed. When Jiao Wei showed up in her hospital room, Jianbei hoped he would quickly leave to avoid the reporters taking pictures. But perhaps Jiao Wei had fallen for her, and he felt that the rumors weren't that bad, thinking that they would be a great match if they were together. However, Shi Yun came and announced that Jianbei could be discharged from the hospital. Suddenly remembering Wu Di saying that Shi Yun was very jealous, she took advantage of Jiao Wei being there. She asked Jiao Wei to feed her to make Shi Yun jealous, but he insisted that she was healthy and then coldly left. Hearing Yuan Song talking about the news of Jiao Wei and Jian Bei being affectionate with each other made Shi Yun angry. When he heard the nurses in the hospital gossiping about how Jiao Wei's fans were only scolding Jian Bei, he became extremely uncomfortable. Suddenly, he saw a woman sneaking into Jian Bei's room, and Shi Yun realized something bad was going to happen. He quickly told a nurse to alert security. Because of Jiao Wei's fans causing trouble with Jian Bei, she got water splashed on her. Seeing Jian Bei soaking wet, Shi Yun coldly told her to get discharged quickly to avoid negatively impacting the hospital. When Jian Bei asked what would happen if she didn't leave, Shi Yun immediately replied that he would call off the engagement. Hearing these words directly from Shi Yun, Jian Bei immediately went back to her room, packed her things, and left that night. Facing Shi Yun, Jian Bei sensed his indifferent attitude towards their marriage and thought that Shi Yun really wanted to cancel their engagement. As soon as she left, Jian Bei hurt her foot because her shoe broke. Shi Yun wanted to help, but she just threw her shoes away and coldly walked away, getting home in the dark with bare feet. Disappointment made Jian Bei burst into tears. Surprisingly, Shi Yun's appearance at Jian Bei's door made her feel a little happy. He came to look at the injury on her foot. Shi Yun's hands gently treated the wound, making Jian Bei's mood so happy that she laughed. While he was there, Jian Bei asked Shi Yun questions about herself, and she was happy that Shi Yun didn't bring up any of the rumors or the rebellious attitude of that girl. She wanted to offer Shi Yun a glass of water, but before she could get it, he left right away. She realized that pursuing someone as cold as Shi Yun was not easy at all. She once again sought help from Wu Di. Because Jian Bei came all the way to her house, Wu Di immediately guessed that she wanted something. Jian Bei then confided that she wanted to make Shi Yun fall in love with her. She hoped that Wu Di could help her through Yuan Song like last time. Thinking about what happened that night between her and Yuan Song, Wu Di flatly refused to help Jian Bei. She instead told Jian Bei to go even though she begged for help. A new guy just moved into the apartment below Wu Di's. All day long, he just sings loudly, which really bothered her. Wu Di ended up going out on her balcony and yelling down at him. Water from the apartment above was leaking down, making it impossible for Yuan Song to sleep. He decided to go upstairs to check it out, and coincidentally, it turned out to be Wu Di's apartment. When they saw each other, they both felt like it was a nightmare. When she heard Yuan Song talking about the water leak, Wu Di let Yuan Song in to check out the pipes and fix them for her. She took the opportunity to ask him about Shi Yun, and she found out that he wasn't someone who would make the first move. Thinking that he had fixed it, Yuan Song was super confident. But then, the pipe burst open, making them both soaking wet. Without realizing it, they stopped feeling awkward and laughed and joked with each other happily. The next morning, Dr. Yuan was in a really happy mood, and so was Wu Di. She reminded Jian Bei to be proactive in winning over Shi Yun. The next morning, Jian Bei sent a thank you message to Shi Yun and started filming a new movie. Jian Bei was cast to act with Zi Tong, an actress who was also with the same company as Jiao Wei. Because Zi Tong liked Jiao Wei and hated Jian Bei because of the dating rumors, Zi Tong kept giving her trouble while filming. She made Jian Bei eat over a dozen bowls of rice in one shoot, which made her throw up continuously. She clearly knew that Jian Bei had caught a cold, but Zi Tong deliberately kept coughing in front of her. She always tried to get close to her and set things up to make everyone think that Jian Bei was constantly making things difficult for her. Because of Zi Tong's deliberate actions, Jian Bei's illness got worse and worse. When she got home, Jian Bei collapsed from exhaustion. Shi Yun found out and immediately rushed over to her house. He quickly asked someone to unlock Jian Bei's door. She was lying on the couch with a high fever. Shi Yun quickly carried her to her bed and tucked her under the covers. He picked up the good luck charm that was under Jian Bei's pillow. Shi Yun immediately recognized this as a keepsake from his mother. One was for him, and the other was for his future daughter-in-law, who was none other than Jian Bei. When he woke up, he saw Jianbei complaining about a headache, so Yun got her some medicine. It was rare for Yun to take care of her, so Jianbei got all clingy and wanted him to feed her the medicine. But he flatly refused. After Jianbei finished her medicine, Yun was about to leave right away. She complained to him, saying that every time he came, he was always in a hurry to leave. Then, since she hadn't eaten anything all day, Jianbei was a little hungry. She hoped Yun could cook something for her. Suddenly, Yun appeared with a bag of food in his hand, which surprised her a lot. Seeing how messy Jianbei's place was and knowing it wouldn't help her get better, Yun stayed behind to clean up her house. Watching his meticulous care made her heart flutter. She hoped to be closer to Yun. As for Wu Di, she was having a headache because President Wang had criticized her for not managing Jianbei carefully, causing one rumor after another that was damaging the company's reputation. He gave Wu Di one day to settle all the rumors smoothly. Yinbai, exhausted, had fallen asleep. In her drowsy state, she grabbed Yun's hand, hoping he could stay at her place today. Jianbei's clinging made it hard for Yun to leave. Because she was busy with work, Wu Di hadn't been home for several days. This made Yuan Song a little restless, and he looked forward to her return each day. Yuan Song ended up sitting on the balcony waiting for Wu Di to come home. Waking up and seeing that the person holding her hand was Yun made Jianbei a bit shy. Before leaving, Yun invited her to go back to his hometown with him on Sunday to participate in ancestor worship. Although she was very happy and eager to agree, Jianbei hesitated and asked Yun what her status would be when she went with him. Hearing Yun consider her his fiancé made Jianbei extremely excited. Hearing Wu Di come home, Yuan Song quickly jumped up and pretended to be going for a workout to see her. Yuan Song intentionally made a lot of noise while exercising, hoping to get Wu Di's attention. Back in his office, Yun wanted to text Jianbei to comfort her and tell her not to worry about those rumors, but he would type the message and then delete it. At that moment, Jianbei was watching a movie she had starred in. She was crying while watching it and reflecting on how excellent her acting was. The rumors about Jianbei were resolved, and Yun felt more at ease. He confided in Yuan Song about how Jianbei needed to think about his invitation to go to his hometown. Yuan Song then promised to help Yun by getting information about Jianbei from Wu Di. Pretending to need some hot water, Yuan Song went to Wu Di's place, but he left disappointed, having gleaned nothing. But the truth was that Jianbei hadn't told Wu Di about it yet. During the next day's filming, some actors boycotted Zitong because of what she had done, but Jianbei stood up and advised everyone to trust and respect each other more. This made the entire set admire her good character. All day, Jianbei kept waiting for a text from Yun, and she guessed that Yun was also waiting to hear from her. They both were thinking about calling each other, but when they did, they both told each other they had been waiting. They both fell into a state of longing for each other and went home. Receiving a call from his brother saying he had prepared the room for Yun and Jianbei to return tomorrow, Yun was moved by the anticipation from his family. He planned to text Jianbei and ask if she would return with him, but he wrote and then deleted it. Jianbei really wanted to go with him, but being a girl, she felt she shouldn't be so proactive. She ended up losing sleep, and then both of them continued to be silent with each other. The next morning, still not having received Jianbei's agreement to go home with him, Yun had to go back home alone. Waking up, it was already almost noon, so Jianbei quickly tried to contact Yun. To make things worse, just as she was about to send a message agreeing to go with him, her phone broke. Jianbei then hurriedly packed her things and went to find Yun, but he was nowhere to be found. Angry that Yun had gone home without waiting for her, Jianbei went shopping and eating with Wu Di. While listening to Jianbei complain about Yun, Wu Di pointed out that it was because she hadn't told Yun she agreed to go with him that he ended up leaving. When she got back, Jianbei was surprised to see Yun waiting in front of her place. After hearing him explain, Jianbei realized that her message agreeing had actually gone through. Yun had come and waited for Jianbei all afternoon, even though she wasn't home and wasn't answering his calls. Then they both got into the car to go to his hometown, both with joy in their hearts. Jianbei got all clingy and wanted Yun to buckle her seatbelt for her. This time, he indulged her, making the atmosphere even more romantic. Seeing that Jianbei had fallen back asleep, Yun didn't dare wake her. He gently took his coat off and put it over her, and then went outside to wait for her to wake up. A little later, when Jianbei woke up, Yun took her to the bakery where his grandmother liked to buy treats, to get some for a gift. Noticing they were out of rose candies, which Jianbei wanted. Yun bought them for her. Jianbei then spontaneously bought a small teddy bear from a roadside stand as a gift for Yun. As for Yuan Song, he still tried every way possible to talk to Wu Di, but she mostly rejected him. When they arrived at the house, Yun's older brother greeted them. Before going in to see his grandmother, Jianbei was a little worried that she would be hard on her, but Yun reassured her and told her to relax. While greeting his grandmother, the bag of candy that Yun bought for Jianbei made his younger sister, Su-Ying, misunderstand, thinking that her brother had bought it for her. But upon learning that Yun had bought it for Jianbei, Su-Ying became angry, which also made Jianbei a bit flustered. When they went to their rooms to rest, a comment from the housekeeper made Jianbei mistakenly believe that she and Yun would be sharing a room, making her blush and needing to go outside to get some air. Yun came to let Jianbei know that wasn't the case and told her not to mess things up. On Zitong's side, she was hoping that the company would allow her to participate in a television program with Jiao Wei, but the company refused because of the rumors she had caused. Wu Di was invited to eat hot pot by Yuan Song, just because she had lent him an egg, making her feel incredibly awkward. The cook at Yun's house was injured, so he couldn't cook. Su-Ying, who didn't like Jianbei, used this as an excuse to make things difficult for her. She told their grandmother to let Yun cook, not knowing that he had gone out on business. This left a girl who had never cooked before, like Jianbei, to cook for the whole family. This was really difficult for her, since she also didn't know that his grandmother would be eating vegetarian food before the ancestral death anniversary. She ended up taking out the dishes meant for the ancestral offering to cook, including roasted pig and braised pork. When the whole family came down to get ready for dinner, they saw that the table was full of food meant for tomorrow's ancestral offering. Su-Ying then took the opportunity to constantly criticize Jianbei. This made Jianbei feel extremely guilty towards the whole family, even though his grandmother didn't blame her at all. Even though she knew she didn't do it on purpose, Jianbei still blamed herself for the mistake she had made that day, even though no one else blamed her. As for Wu Di, she was treated to a very delicious hot pot meal by Yuan Song, which gave her a more positive view of him. In the evening, Yun had to step in to prepare the items for the ancestral worship the next day, and Jianbei went down to the kitchen to help him. They shared a romantic look that made his grandmother smile contentedly. The next morning, after getting dressed and putting on makeup, Yun led Jianbei to the living room to participate in the ancestral worship. Unexpectedly, Su-Ying intentionally splashed water on Jianbei, ruining the outfit she had carefully prepared. Because Jianbei had brought too few clothes, she didn't have anything suitable to change into. Luckily, Yun's mother had left behind an outfit, and when Jianbei put it on, it fit perfectly. The slow pace of the two of them displeased everyone in the house. But when Yun led Jianbei out, it made the whole family applaud her beauty. After the ceremony, Jianbei had a chance to talk to Su-Ying, and from there she finally understood why Su-Ying had been making things difficult for her so many times. Su-Ying was a loyal female fan of Jiao Wei. The rumors about Jianbei and Jiao Wei hadn't died down, and now she was going home with Yun, which made it unavoidable for Su-Ying to think that Jianbei was a flirt. Yun immediately appeared to protect Jianbei, which only made Su-Ying angrier. At his younger sister's stubbornness, Yun became truly angry, but Jianbei saw the real reason and understood that Su-Ying was just jealous seeing her older brother loving and caring for another girl. On Zitong's side, there was only one spot left on the television program that Jiao Wei was participating in. She wanted to participate with him, but she couldn't bring herself to ask Jiao Wei for help. Wu Di wanted Jianbei to take that last spot, but Jianbei didn't want to participate because she was afraid that Yun would be jealous of her being with Jiao Wei. Especially these past few days, the relationship between Yuan Song and Wu Di had become like something out of a romantic movie. Yuan Song had secretly prepared a romantic date for Wu Di, but the way Yuan Song looked at the restaurant owner suddenly made her feel insecure. Jianbei thought that Yun would be jealous when he heard she was participating deeply with Jiao Wei, but he agreed and even offered to see Jianbei home. When Wu Di saw the intimate gestures between Yuan Song and another girl, the past hurts immediately resurfaced, causing her to become afraid and leave, despite Yuan Song's attempts to explain. Thanks to Jiao Wei's help, Zitong was able to participate in the program that she had wanted to. Yun's brother gave Yun a pair of earrings that were considered the treasure of the Zhua family's daughter-in-law. Now he wanted Yun to give them to Jianbei when she got home. Yun didn't have the courage to give her the treasure, only gently wishing her good night. Jianbei also happily wished him good night. Shi Yun felt truly troubled that he couldn't give Jianbei the earrings his mother had left behind. After the failed date last night, both Yuan Song and Wu Di were hurt and had become quiet and somber, no longer as boisterous as usual. Arriving at the hospital in a daze, Yuan Song became the center of everyone's gossip. Because she was so angry at Yuan Song, Wu Di spoke harshly to Jianbei when she was being clingy and said that Shi Yun would be just as bad as Yuan Song. From this, Jianbei discovered that the relationship between Yuan Song and Wu Di wasn't normal at all, and she made Wu Di confess everything about where her relationship with Yuan Song actually stood, understanding Wu Di's disappointed state. Jianbei comforted her and hoped that she wouldn't be betrayed like before, which made Wu Di feel much lighter. A little later, Jianbei was happy too. See Shi Yun come to her place to personally deliver the gifts from his hometown that his grandmother had sent. Jianbei wanted to invite him in, but Shi Yun refused, saying he had to go to work the next morning and turned to leave. Actually, Shi Yun really wanted to go in, so he turned back and made the excuse that he was thirsty, making Jianbei giggle and invite him in for a drink. Yuan Song's absent-mindedness made the hospital director angry. Hearing that Shi Yun had some information about Wu Di that he wanted to tell him, Yuan Song dropped his gloomy mood and eagerly listened. When Shi Yun told him about the things Wu Di thought about Yuan Song, that he was a playboy and had a wandering eye, although they were harsh, Shi Yun admitted they were true. At the same time, when he heard about Wu Di's past relationship, Yuan Song understood how much pain she had gone through. Adding to Shi Yun's advice, Yuan Song decided that he would pursue Wu Di seriously. The program that Zhao Wei and Jianbei were co-starring in was loved and supported by the audience, who liked the couple together. This made a cold person like Shi Yun feel a little uncomfortable. On Yuan Song's side, he did everything he could to make Wu Di realize his feelings, buying her food and even confessing his love for her right in front of her company. But Wu Di rejected it all coldly. Hearing the compliments about Zhao Wei and Jianbei as a couple, Shi Yun posted a veiled message on social media. Su Ying, seeing the intimate news between Zhao Wei and Jianbei on the program, became furious. She made plans with her fan friends to deal with Jianbei. Su Ying snuck up to the city that very night. Su Ying arrived in the city and met with a female fan and had her follow Jianbei. A little later, the appearance of Jianbei with a box of treats that she had bought made Shi Yun extremely happy, but he tried to act cold and left. During the next filming of the program, Jianbei was slightly injured, but she pretended that her leg hurt a lot so they would stop filming. Wu Di also realized what Jianbei was planning, so she agreed to cooperate and helped her get home. After that, Jianbei took a picture and sent it to Shi Yun, hoping he would care about her a little. And then, that evening, Shi Yun immediately went to visit her and didn't forget to bring a box of medicine. This made Jianbei extremely happy and excited that Shi Yun had come to see her. Jianbei almost forgot that she was pretending to be hurt. Shi Yun just looked at her and immediately realized her trick, because the picture Jianbei sent him showed her right leg bandaged, but the bandage was actually on her left leg. Because she was in a hurry, Jianbei had bandaged the wrong side. But instead of scolding her, he still gently cared for Jianbei's small injury. Jianbei got clingy, hoping that Shi Yun would stay by her side. Because his work was so busy, Shi Yun refused and left right away. Understanding the noble nature of being a doctor, Jianbei only dared to wish Shi Yun good night. On his way out, Zhao Wei advised him that love between an ordinary person and a big star usually doesn't work out. These words made Shi Yun think about it a lot. After that, Zhao Wei had to sadly pack his things and head home. Yuan Song came over and complained about the pain of being rejected by Wu Di to Shi Yun. He then advised Yuan Song to use his heart to listen to her heart when pursuing Wu Di. This made Yuan Song return with a fierce determination. From the fan friend who was always following Jianbei, Su Ying realized that it was Zhao Wei who was always taking the initiative to find Jianbei. But they still thought that it was because Jianbei was being manipulative and had charmed Zhao Wei, so they were determined to find a way to get revenge on Jianbei. Waking up, hearing a wounded bird outside the porch, Shi Yun, with his skillful hands, healed the little bird and helped it get better. The next morning, while talking with Wu Di, Jianbei discovered the documents that Shi Yun had forgotten at her place last night. She quickly brought them to the hospital for him. At the hospital, Jianbei ran into Su Ying. Su Ying had come to the hospital to show Shi Yun the pictures between Jianbei and Zhao Wei that she and her fan had taken. On Yuan Song's side, he continued to try to create coincidences between him and Wu Di, hoping that she could understand his heart. Yuan Song agreed to go with Wu Di to her yoga class and readily signed up for a new membership. He even followed Wu Di even when Yuan Song mistakenly went into the women's locker room without realizing it. Luckily, an employee reminded Yuan Song, who then realized his mistake. Just because of Su Ying's stubbornness, everyone at the hospital recognized Jianbei. The encirclement of the crowd accidentally bumped into a little girl named Bao Bao. The beanie on her head fell off, making Bao Bao panic because the chemotherapy treatments had caused her to shave her head. Yuan Song still tried hard to get Wu Di's attention. Yuan Song was still willing to go along with Wu Di to try aerial yoga, even though it was extremely difficult. Yuan Song's persistence made Wu Di angry, and she hoped that he would leave her private life in peace. Su Ying secretly went to Shi Yun's place to show him the photos she had taken of Jianbei and Jiao Wei. She also falsely accused Jianbei of seducing Jiao Wei again and again, which really made Shi Yun a little angry. That evening, Shi Yun went to Jianbei's place to get his documents, but because of her playfulness, they ended up hugging. This was the first time Jianbei and Shi Yun had been so close, making both of them a little shy. When she found out about Shi Yun's plan to go to a remote mountain area to treat poor people, Jianbei felt that he was incredibly compassionate and admired his useful work. Embarrassed by the hug, Shi Yun quickly left. But before leaving, he still didn't forget to wish Jianbei good night. The next morning, Shi Yun called the housekeeper to pick up Su Ying and bring her home. She wanted to stay for a few more days, but Shi Yun refused. Because of yesterday's incident, Bao Bao had become insecure, more afraid to interact with people, and just buried herself under the covers. Knowing that the reason was because of Jianbei's appearance, Shi Yun received a scolding from the hospital director. Even so, Shi Yun defended Jianbei and admitted that she was his fiancé. After filming, Jiao Wei and Jianbei went to eat together. During their conversation, Jianbei understood that Jiao Wei actually only liked music and didn't want to act in movies. When Jiao Wei asked if he could use her first name to be more familiar with her, she bluntly refused because she didn't want the rumors to become more complicated. Bao Bao refused to eat or drink, making Shi Yun extremely worried. But when he learned that the person Bao Bao liked was actually Jianbei, he immediately asked her to come and help Bao Bao. Jianbei quickly agreed, and she prepared a special gift for Bao Bao. Understanding Bao Bao's story, Jianbei took her makeup box to see her. Seeing Jianbei, Bao Bao immediately became happy because she was someone she admired very much. What was even more special was that Jianbei helped her to become really beautiful. The encouragement from Jianbei and Shi Yun made Bao's spirits more positive. Bao Bao didn't want Jianbei to leave, but she promised to visit and talk with her often. Hearing this promise, Bao Bao felt reassured and rested. Helping Bao Bao also made Jianbei feel much more comfortable. While Jianbei was leaving the hospital to go home, she told Shi Yun that she always felt like someone was watching her. Yuan Song was still trying to get Wu Di's attention, even going for a massage with her. He even boasted to the staff there that Wu Di was his wife. Even when he heard Wu Di wanted boiled eggs, Yuan Song immediately bought her 3. Tired of Yuan Song's persistence, Wu Di pleaded with him and asked what it was about her that he liked, so she could fix it. For Yuan Song, it was simply that they were both lonely so they could find each other. At the entrance to her house, someone had intentionally left a fake mouse, causing Jianbei to get scared and run away in a panic. Worried about her, Shi Yun had been secretly following her home. Seeing Shi Yun, Jianbei jumped up and hugged him tightly, making his neck a little sore. Seeing how scared Jianbei was, Shi Yun felt uneasy, so he took her to his place to sleep for the night. On the way to Shi Yun's place, Jianbei kept thinking that he would take her to some hotel, and the romantic and intimate scenes between the two of them flashed through Jianbei's mind. While she was happy in her heart to be taken home by Shi Yun, she still tried to act like this wasn't a good idea. But for her own safety, Jianbei still agreed to stay. After Shi Yun gave her a tour of his house, Jianbei realized that he was an incredibly clean person, and no matter where you looked, there wasn't a speck of dust. Jianbei felt that this man was extremely thoughtful, having prepared even toiletries for her. A little later, she went to borrow some pajamas from him. Jianbei teased Shi Yun, saying that she liked the outfit he was wearing, making Shi Yun a little awkward. She then grabbed a random set and went back to her room happily. At night, the noise from the bird that Shi Yun was raising made Jianbei so scared that she jumped up. She rushed into Yun's room and jumped into his arms, nearly giving him a heart attack. When Yun heard the sound that had scared Jianbei, he understood what was happening, and then Yun took her to see the baby bird that he had saved when it was injured. He fed the bird, and then they both wished each other good night before returning to their own rooms. The next morning, Wu Di called Jianbei to wake up, but it wasn't until she went out and saw Yun that she froze, realizing that this wasn't her home. Returning to her room, Jianbei put on beautiful makeup to make Yun crazy about her. But no matter how much she called out to him, she couldn't find Yun. It turned out he had already left for work. Seeing the breakfast that Yun had carefully prepared for her made Jianbei extremely happy. When Wu Di found out that Jianbei had stayed at Yun's house overnight, she was shocked. Wu Di immediately became furious, afraid that reporters would take pictures and cause a big mess. After learning that even though they had stayed together, nothing had happened, Wu Di teased Jianbei that she wasn't attractive to Yun. This made Jianbei think a lot, leading to her not being in a good state during the photo shoot afterwards. To be more certain, Jianbei sought advice from a man, Zhao Wei. Zhao Wei's answer made her even more stunned. He said that it was because the man wasn't interested in that girl. Wu Di, on the other hand, spent money to hire someone to pretend to be her boyfriend, hoping that Yuan Song would give up. Unexpectedly, Yuan Song immediately recognized her trick and even thanked Wu Di for putting on a show for him. The next day, Jianbei bought herself some very seductive dresses, and she dreamed that Yun would be captivated by her beauty. Jianbei had prepared everything, hoping that after Yun came home, he would be immersed in her beauty. She put on a seductive dress, did her makeup beautifully, and even her mannerisms were carefully thought out. Jianbei did everything to make Yun attracted to her. Angry at being exposed by Yuan Song, Wu Di immediately tried to get revenge. She gave Yuan Song's number and information saying he wanted to sell his house to various real estate agents, making Yuan Song receive calls from agents from morning to night, driving him crazy. When Yun returned from work, Jianbei was asleep on the couch. A little later, waking up and seeing Yun standing in front of her, Jianbei intentionally showed off her slender legs. Then she pretended to be cold, hoping that Yun would pay attention to her. Even though he knew Jianbei's scheme, Yun still gently picked her up and carried her to her room. Thinking that he would be moved by her beauty, Yun sat Jianbei down to rest and then left immediately. Having Zhao Wei come to celebrate her birthday with a cake, Zitong was really happy, but Zhao Wei wished that she would find her true happiness soon. And he apologized if his actions had made Zitong mistakenly believe that he had feelings for her, while emphasizing that he only saw Zitong as a good friend. Furthermore, knowing that Zhao Wei wouldn't be filming with her. In the next episodes, Zitong felt very sad and cried. The matter of giving the precious heirloom earrings to Jianbei was still troubling Yun. Waking up, Jianbei was captivated by Yun's beauty while he was cooking, and she stared at him adoringly. Jianbei wanted to cook with Yun, but because of her clumsiness, he refused. Jianbei's playfulness helped the two of them have another opportunity to hug. Just as Jianbei and Yun were about to kiss, the doorbell rang, ruining the moment. It turned out to be his older brother and Su-Ying coming to visit. Knowing that this girl would cause trouble, Jianbei was extremely wary. Seeing that Jianbei still hadn't worn the heirloom that their mother had left behind, his older brother thought it was because Jianbei didn't like wearing old things. In truth, it was just because Yun hadn't had the courage to give it to her yet. A little later, Jianbei agreed to let Su-Ying stay at her place, even though she felt a little uncomfortable. Troubled by the constant calls from real estate agents, Yuan Song became distraught. After thinking it over, Yuan Song finally guessed that the person behind this trick was Wu Di. Jianbei listened to her intuition and personally made chicken soup for Yun. Wherever she went, Jianbei carried the box of chicken soup to prevent Su-Ying from messing with her. This time, seeing that Su-Ying had little opportunity to harm her, Jianbei was extremely confident that Yun would be happy to eat it. Unexpectedly, Jianbei was tricked by Su-Ying, who hired someone to sabotage her. When she got to Yun's office, Jianbei hadn't even had a chance to give him the soup when Yuan Song snatched it away. As soon as Yuan Song drank it, he immediately spat it out. The soup that Jianbei had lovingly prepared for Yun went from being delicious to completely inedible, making Jianbei feel incredibly guilty. Su-Ying's trickery was easily exposed by Jianbei, but being a forgiving person, she let Su-Ying off the hook and didn't tell Yun. Jianbei's efforts to move Yun's heart were about to succeed when they were ruined by Su Ying. Wu Di only dared to sneak back home, afraid that Yuan Song would find her, but he ended up finding her anyway. Yuan Song just wanted to bring Wu Di some late-night food, but Wu Di cursed him and chased him away immediately. That night, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep, afraid that Su Ying would continue to ruin their private space. The two of them had no choice but to secretly date on the rooftop of the house. Even so, they both felt very happy. They hid on the rooftop, chatted, and watched the small birds, making Jianbei and Shi Yun feel incredibly romantic. The next morning, Shi Yun personally made breakfast and brought it to Jianbei's room. Her clingy request to be fed by him was indulged by Shi Yun. Thinking that the two of them still hadn't had an official date, Jianbei reminded Shi Yun to arrange a truly romantic one. Shi Yun, having no experience with love, had no choice but to seek advice from Yuan Song. But even Yuan Song himself was failing at every date he tried to plan for Wu Di, so he couldn't help Shi Yun. While confiding in Wu Di, Jianbei revealed that she was a little worried about this first date. Wu Di, not wanting to get involved with Yuan Song, quickly tried to sell her house. While preparing to sign the contract, Yuan Song showed up at her door, calling out her name, making the potential buyer leave. Wu Di, furious, ignored Yuan Song, leaving him lying outside her door. When he woke up and realized that he had bothered Wu Di, Yuan Song felt extremely guilty and only dared to quietly apologize before leaving. When she found out there was a problem with the house sale contract, Wu Di became extremely stressed. Yuan Song stepped in to help, and Wu Di was actually moved. When his move was not going smoothly, he was caught in the rain, looking completely soaked and miserable. Wu Di then appeared and took him back to her place to stay temporarily. Jianbei and Shi Yun had agreed to go release the small bird back to nature together on the weekend. That day, the road was difficult and Jianbei was wearing high heels, so she almost fell. Shi Yun caught her, which made her smile happily, seeing the little bird fly away. So quickly, Jianbei became afraid that one day Shi Yun would also leave her like that. But he affirmed that Jianbei was Shi Yun's future wife, and that wherever she went, he would follow. This romantic moment was about to be heated up by a kiss, but Su Ying wouldn't leave them alone and appeared to ruin the moment. Jianbei and Shi Yun were still happy together, despite Su Ying's disruption. After a fun-filled day, hunger struck, and Shi Yun prepared a lavish meal for Jianbei, with the light of the candles making the meal even more romantic. Finally, the kiss was shared completely. The next morning, Shi Yun prepared breakfast for Jianbei, and Yuan Song also put in a lot of effort to make breakfast for Wu Di. Knowing that Su Ying liked Jiawei, Jianbei took her to meet him, making Su Ying extremely excited. Jianbei thought that her kindness would be accepted by Su Ying, but unexpectedly, Su Ying was still plotting to harm Jianbei. After moving in with Wu Di, Yuan Song accidentally saw her ID and discovered that they both had the same birthday. This made Wu Di very surprised. Su Ying, on the other hand, pretended that she had become more friendly with Jianbei, but it was just a facade. In her heart, she was still jealous of Jianbei and determined to separate her from Shi Yun. Jianbei then jokingly threatened Su Ying, making her cry loudly. Knowing that Jianbei was only teasing her, Su Ying wondered why. Even though she had repeatedly caused trouble for Jianbei, Jianbei didn't hold a grudge against her at all. She was only angry that Su Ying was always hanging around, ruining her private time with Shi Yun. Through this, Jianbei wanted to help Su Ying pursue her idol more easily. She helped get Su Ying a job as Jiao Wei's new assistant. At the same time, she also gave Su Ying a ticket to see Jiao Wei perform. And then Jianbei went to the restaurant for her date with Shi Yun. Not seeing Jianbei, but only Su Ying, Jiao Wei asked where Jianbei was. And when he learned that she had left earlier, he felt a bit disappointed because he had prepared a special song that he wanted to dedicate to her during this performance. At the restaurant, when Jianbei was kicked out by security, she met a person in the stock market who she had worked with before. Thanks to his help, she was able to get into the restaurant. A little later, he came over and wanted to invite Jianbei for a few drinks. This really angered Shi Yun. He protected Jianbei, causing the man to lose face and leave. Yuan Song, staying with Wu Di, had corrected quite a few of his bad habits. Su Ying returned from the concert with an extremely happy spirit. This time, Jianbei signed a new contract, which stipulated that she had to be single during the term of the contract. This made someone who was already engaged like Jianbei feel a little awkward. But because of the company's requirements, she was forced to sign. When Yuan Song talked about how couples who love each other often have conflicts when they're too close, this made Shi Yun a little worried. Knowing that the place she had booked for rehearsals had been booked by Jiao Wei, even though she knew there would be many disadvantages, Zitong still agreed to give the place to Jiao Wei. It turned out that Jiao Wei had booked that place because he wanted to confess his love to Jianbei. Because Zitong thought Jiao Wei had an activity there, she wanted to go in and see it too. Jiao Wei sang the song that he wrote for her to Jianbei. Faced with Jiao Wei's surprising confession, Jianbei was extremely awkward. She refused and stated that she only saw him as a junior colleague, admitting that she already had a fiancé. Hearing these words, Jiao Wei felt very sad. Witnessing Jiao Wei's rejected confession, Zitong also realized that she was not cared for by Jiao Wei. She was really angry, thinking that Jianbei wasn't worthy of Jiao Wei being so sad. Zitong once again took action to harm Jianbei. During a live stream with fans, Shi Yun was accidentally caught on camera, causing an uproar among netizens. But because she couldn't publicly reveal their relationship, Jianbei had no choice but to lie and say he was the new driver she had hired. This made Shi Yun feel a little unhappy, and he angrily went to work at the hospital even though he wasn't on duty. When her mother found out that Jianbei was with Shi Yun, she was extremely happy. In contrast, her father was extremely angry. Using this as an excuse, he forced them both to go home to explain, thinking that Shi Yun would go home with her. Jianbei was very excited about this. Jiao Wei, who had his confession rejected, was like a lost soul. Even so, Jiao Wei still agreed to help Su Ying get a job as his assistant, thanks to Jianbei's request, so that Shi Yun would agree to go home with her. Jianbei rubbed oil into her eyes, pretending to cry, and hoped that he could understand her heart. When Shi Yun came home and saw Jianbei crying so hard, he became worried and quickly asked her what was wrong. Jianbei told him that her mother back home was suffering from a mental illness and needed both her and Shi Yun to come visit. Shi Yun saw through Jianbei's pretense, but he still agreed to go home with her. Jianbei, although very happy, still had tears streaming down her face just because the oil was too spicy. Yuan Song's bad habits made Wu Di extremely uncomfortable, so she decided to change him, starting with the smallest things, changing his style of dress and daily habits, making Yuan Song look more mature and neat. Today was the day that Su Ying went to her interview to be Jiao Wei's assistant. Shi Yun, upon learning about it, quickly tried to stop Su Ying from going, just because the entertainment industry was very complex. He said that his older brother and grandmother wouldn't agree. With Jianbei's help, Su Ying was finally able to go to the interview. Hearing Jianbei say that her father liked playing chess, Shi Yun went and bought an antique chess set as a gift for Jianbei's father. Because he felt unwell and kept needing to go to the bathroom frequently throughout the day, Yuan Song went to the doctor for a checkup. When the doctor suspected that he had a terminal illness, it made him extremely depressed. After being persuaded by Jianbei's mother and the fact that Shi Yun and Jianbei had come back to visit, Jianbei's father also loosened up a little about their living together. Shi Yun's excellence in both his career and his intelligence made everyone admire him. Jianbei's father still seemed a bit angry with Shi Yun, but after they talked, it seemed like Jianbei's father really trusted Shi Yun. On the other hand, Jianbei's mother always wanted to find out how far Jianbei and Shi Yun's relationship had progressed, which made Jianbei a little awkward. Su Ying's interview was a bit difficult at first, but then she revealed herself to be a loyal fan of Jiao Wei. She impressed everyone. After going out together and returning, Shi Yun and Jianbei's father had become very close. And then Jianbei's mother decided to invite the whole family out to a lavish restaurant meal. She wanted to celebrate her daughter's return home and introduce Shi Yun to the relatives. While happily getting ready with Jianbei's father, Shi Yun received a text message from a stranger. It was a video that Zitong had accidentally recorded. The content was a conversation between Jianbei and Wu Di. Jianbei said that she only wanted to play around and get revenge on Shi Yun for not attending their engagement party. She was using this as practice for her acting abilities. Hearing these words from Jianbei's own mouth, Shi Yun felt completely crushed. This made Shi Yun temporarily unable to accept it. At this time, Yuan Song, because of his illness diagnosis, was feeling tired and wanted Shi Yun to return to the hospital to help him, ignoring the fact that Jianbei's parents had invited their relatives to the restaurant for dinner. Shi Yun had no choice but to make the excuse that the hospital had an urgent surgery and apologize before leaving immediately, making both Jianbei's parents and Jianbei feel bewildered. Jianbei was extremely surprised. In the end, Suing was accepted as Jia Wei's new assistant. At first, Zitong constantly tried to make things difficult for Suing. Seeing Suing being bullied, Jia Wei stepped in to defend her, making Zitong extremely uncomfortable. The fact that Yun still wouldn't contact her made Jianbei extremely sad. At a press conference, because she had signed a contract with the company, when reporters asked about her current situation, Jianbei had no choice but to say that she was still single. Hearing this, Yun became extremely uncomfortable. Taking advantage of the shortage of doctors participating in the medical trip to the mountains, he agreed to go. While Jia Wei was playing a game, Suing realized that he was the friend she often played games with. Going home and not seeing Yun anywhere, Jianbei learned from Suing that he had gone up to the mountains for a medical trip. Feeling sad, Jianbei drank until she was drunk. When Suing saw the video on Yun's computer, she understood why Yun was so angry and showed it to Jianbei. Jianbei quickly went to find Yun. Knowing that Jianbei would go up the mountain to find Yun, combined with the harsh weather and the fact that she couldn't be contacted, Yun became extremely worried. Due to a heavy rain, the road up the mountain had been washed away, causing many people to be injured. Even late at night, there was still no contact with Jianbei. Yun's worry grew even more. When he saw that the patients were stable, he decided to go down the mountain to find Jianbei, but because of the patient's safety, Yun couldn't leave. The next morning, when the weather had cleared, Yun asked a local to guide him down the mountain. Unexpectedly, as he was about to leave, a local brought Jianbei to him. Seeing the person they loved, they immediately hugged each other and cried. Seeing Jianbei in that state, Yun felt extremely heartbroken. A little later, they both sat down to listen to each other. Jianbei affirmed that she had only said those harsh words out of anger because he hadn't come to their engagement party. Yun was also willing to listen and apologize for there being too many things happening lately, which had made him unable to stay calm. He was afraid that his busy work would prevent him from being by Jianbei's side when she needed him. And Jianbei comforted him by saying that being a doctor was a noble profession and she was very proud of him. At the same time, Jianbei was afraid that she would disrupt Yun's life. And then all the misunderstandings were finally resolved. Yun then introduced Jianbei to everyone. Everyone admired her beauty. Ding Ding was the only student in this mountainous area and had also contributed to this medical trip. Ding Ding had personally prepared an egg for Yun, but he gave it to Jianbei, making Ding Ding uncomfortable. Seeing that Yuan Song had gone out early in the morning, Wu Di suspected something and followed him. She arrived to see him and a female friend decorating together, and the anger inside Wu Di immediately rose. She threw water at Yuan Song. Luckily, the friend explained, making Wu Di understand. She learned that Yuan Song had a terminal illness and wanted to organize a final birthday celebration for her. Wu Di then understood and felt extremely guilty. Ding Ding probably had feelings for Yun. When she learned that Jianbei was his fiancé, she felt a little disappointed. Suing now extremely hated Zitong because of her arrogance. Yun and the team were happily celebrating that the medical trip was over and they could go home. Then, suddenly, Ding Ding was nowhere to be found. Jianbei could see the feelings that Ding Ding had for Yun, so the whole group decided to go look for Ding Ding. When it was dark and they still hadn't found Ding Ding, Jianbei felt a little guilty. If she hadn't appeared, maybe Ding Ding wouldn't have gotten angry and left. But Jianbei also wondered how Yun could easily make Ding Ding fall for him so quickly when they had only just met for 2 days. Hearing Yun explain, it turned out that they had known each other for over 3 years. When they received news that Ding Ding had returned, both of them felt relieved. Searching for Ding Ding all day in the mountainous area had injured Jianbei's leg. Yun carried her home. Suing saw Jia Wei playing a game and hid in the bathroom to play with him, afraid that Jia Wei would discover that she was his gaming friend. Finally, Yun had the courage to give Jianbei the heirloom that his mother had left behind. The next morning, Ding Ding stayed so that they could talk more. Through their conversation, Ding Ding realized why Yun loved Jianbei so much. Ding Ding admired Jianbei even more. Jianbei's absence for a few days had caused all the work to pile up on Wu Di, making her extremely angry. She immediately called Jianbei and scolded her harshly. Ding Ding and Jianbei did a live stream together to share about the difficulties that children faced in trying to get an education in this region. With her influence, Jianbei helped the children receive gifts from people everywhere. Because she had promised Yuan Song that she would fulfill all his wishes, Wu Di who had never worn a dress before, put on a gorgeous dress under Yuan Song's request, and then they went for a walk and sang in a bar. Even though she felt weird, Wu Di still went out with Yuan Song to make him happy. After spending time together, they both became tipsy, and while in the past, she didn't want to be with him, at this moment Wu Di just wanted to be immersed in that atmosphere. Finally, the day came when Shi Yun and the medical team had to return to the city. The locals came to see them off and thank them, making everyone extremely happy. This trip also helped Jian Bei understand the noble mission of the white-coated warriors. Learning that Jia Wei had to use sleeping pills made Su Ying extremely worried and heartbroken to see the tiredness clearly showing on Jia Wei's face. From that, she understood the burden that her idol was carrying. Knowing that Jia Wei wanted to hear the sounds from his tutoring sessions, which could easily help him sleep, Su Ying secretly went to a classroom to record the teacher's lecture to give to Jia Wei. Indeed, Su Ying had only listened to a few sentences of the lecture when she fell back asleep. Waking up, the whole classroom was empty except for her. Su Ying hoped he could use this sound to sleep better. Besides Shi Yun, Jian Bei was comfortable being clingy with the person she loved. Thanks to some investigating, Shi Yun finally learned that the person who had always been trying to harm Jian Bei was Zi Tong. A little later, Shi Yun went to find Zi Tong, and in front of Shi Yun she was extremely arrogant, making him a little angry. Shi Yun affirmed that if Zi Tong continued to harm Jian Bei, he wouldn't let her get away with it. Losing sleep for many consecutive nights had made Jia Wei's mental state worse, making recording more difficult. Seeing this, Su Ying immediately stepped in to help him. After listening to the lecture that Su Ying had recorded, Jia Wei fell asleep very easily. His older brother had made a reservation to have dinner together at a restaurant. Through Su Ying's words, Jian Bei understood that the heirloom that Shi Yun had given her was actually something his mother had left behind. Jia Wei then took Su Ying out, wanting to give her a gift. Perhaps from this point on, Jia Wei had actually developed some feelings for this little assistant. Going out with Jia Wei made the relationship between him and Su Ying even closer. The two of them took some intimate photos together and returned home late, making Shi Yun a little angry with Su Ying. He thought that she should stop messing around with unimportant things and think about her future. Su Ying was very sad about Shi Yun's thoughts on the work that she loved so much. Remembering that she had received the family heirloom, Jian Bei was very happy and thought that she should also prepare a gift for Shi Yun. She wanted to give him a good luck charm, just like hers. When they talked about it, they realized that these were a pair of good luck charms that Shi Yun's mother had gotten at a temple for both of them. They then shared a happy kiss. Through a program on TV, Jian Bei admired Zi Tong's efforts even more. Yuan Song and Wu Di went out and played everywhere, even in places that were seemingly only for children. Wu Di hoped to hear more about Yuan Song's childhood. Yuan Song wanted to ride the roller coaster, but unfortunately, the ride was only for children. Jian Bei's mother called and praised Shi Yun endlessly, saying that he was very understanding. He had personally gone back to her hometown to explain and apologize to Jian Bei's parents. Taking this opportunity, Jian Bei asked her mother about the good luck charm that she always had. Hearing her mother tell the story from her childhood, Jian Bei better understood the reason why they had been engaged since they were young. Jian Bei's cuteness had made Shi Yun's mother like her, and that was why she had decided to have him and Jian Bei get engaged. Based on her experience running from fans, Wu Di helped Yuan Song sneak onto the roller coaster that he wanted to ride. This outing helped Yuan Song and Wu Di wash away all the misunderstandings and be happy together. Shi Yun was surprised to hear about Yuan Song's absence. He was confused when he couldn't contact Yuan Song or Wu Di after a tiring filming session. Jian Bei was happy to have Shi Yun appear with his care and attention. They both wondered about Yuan Song and Wu Di's disappearance. A little later, going to Wu Di's place, they discovered the terminal illness that Yuan Song was suffering from. Hearing this news made both Shi Yun and Jian Bei extremely surprised. Yuan Song was determined not to get treatment, but after listening to Shi Yun's advice, he reluctantly agreed. Tomorrow was Yuan Song's birthday. Wu Di, although sad, was secretly organizing a birthday party for him. When Jian Bei and Shi Yun went out to eat, hearing the criticisms of Jian Bei and the praise for Zi Tong made Jian Bei a little sad. After going for a recheck, Yuan Song discovered that it was all a misunderstanding. He actually didn't have a terminal illness at all. Everyone still thought that Yuan Song had a terminal illness. Wu Di had invited friends and prepared a very grand birthday party for him, making everyone who attended feel a bit heartbroken. Yuan Song was extremely surprised by everyone's appearance at his birthday party, ironically. When Yuan Song tried to explain the misunderstanding about his illness, he was always interrupted by everyone, making him unable to say anything. Furthermore, all the debts that Yuan Song had taken out were erased by his friends, along with huge gifts. Faced with that happiness, Yuan Song pleaded with Shi Yun not to reveal the misunderstanding. Also, since everyone found out that he was sick, they had all been treating him better, and especially Wu Di. The gentleness that Wu Di was giving Yuan Song made him very happy. Even though he knew that lying was wrong, Yuan Song still hoped to live in this loving atmosphere and promised to tell the truth as soon as possible. Jianbei shed tears for Yuan Song, making Shi Yun laugh. A little later, Shi Yun told Jianbei the truth about Yuan Song's illness. When they were walking down the street and talking, a delivery person accidentally spilled something on Shi Yun's shirt. While waiting for Shi Yun to change his clothes, Jianbei was accidentally discovered by a fan. Jianbei was forced to run away from the crowd of fans. But luckily, Shi Yun appeared in time to protect her, so they were able to lose the fans. Since learning that Yuan Song was sick, Wu Di wouldn't let him do anything around the house, no matter how small. Wu Di's dedicated care made Yuan Song happy, but it also made him feel a little heartbroken. Hearing Wu Di confide in her and seeing how down she was just because she was worried about Yuan Song, Jianbei told the truth that Yuan Song was not sick at all. Hearing this made Wu Di very happy, but also extremely angry, and she was determined to get revenge on this guy. When she got back, Wu Di retaliated against Yuan Song by making him soak his feet in a basin of hot water, making him remember it forever. Jianbei bragged to Shi Yun about her upcoming role. Jianbei was very confident. Since gaining some fame, Zitong had become arrogant, treating everyone with disrespect. She also constantly made things difficult for Jiao Wei. Seeing that Jiao Wei was a little tired, Suing invited him to play a game with her. Wu Di, on the other hand, kept teasing Yuan Song, scaring him to death. As soon as Yuan Song saw Wu Di return home, he would immediately go into defensive mode with her. When she heard the news that Jianbei was about to sign on to play the lead role in an upcoming movie that Zitong also wanted to star in, Zitong immediately plotted to harm Jianbei once again by contacting reporters to leak news about Jianbei's boyfriend. As for Yuan Song, he was still being punished by Wu Di. Today she pulled out a bunch of acupuncture needles preparing to give him acupuncture, scaring Yuan Song so much he ran away as fast as he could. From this, Yuan Song finally dared to reveal the truth, that it was just a misunderstanding that led to the conclusion that Yuan Song had a terminal illness. He also explained to Wu Di that it wasn't intentional, but that he was afraid Wu Di would get angry and he didn't want to ruin their happy time together. This really made Wu Di feel a little wronged, but she was still happy that Yuan Song was still healthy. That night, Jiao Wei went to his best friend in the game to chat. Only when playing games with his friend did Jiao Wei truly feel comfortable. The next morning, Shi Yun thoughtfully prepared breakfast for Jianbei. On the way to Jianbei's place, seeing reporters surrounding the door, he felt that something was wrong. Hearing Jianbei call him, he quickly left. It turned out that their relationship had been exposed, and Jianbei felt guilty for causing trouble for Shi Yun's peaceful life. But Shi Yun wasn't worried about himself, only worried about Jianbei being in danger and tired of the rumors surrounding them. Wu Di was extremely tired, but the encouragement from Yuan Song had given her the strength to keep fighting. The next day, reporters had chased after Shi Yun at his workplace. Luckily, the hospital director intervened. The director decided to give Shi Yun a few days off, letting the rumors die down and letting him rest and regain his strength. Wu Di had a difficult time setting up a meeting with the other party. Jianbei and Wu Di had poured their hearts out during the discussion, but the other party still insisted on blaming Jianbei for violating the contract. The online rumors about the relationship between Jianbei and Shi Yun had affected the contract with the other party. Faced with the pressure to hold a press conference to clarify everything to the public, Jianbei angrily left. Because she wanted to play the lead role in the film project that Jianbei was originally chosen for, Zitong intentionally told the director about Jianbei having a fiancé, making it difficult for her to get the role. And then, Zitong was able to secure the lead role. Suing wanted to tell Jiao Wei that she was the friend he had been playing games with all this time, but she didn't have the courage to say it because she was afraid Jiao Wei would think she had been deceiving him. Faced with the rumors about Jianbei, Jiao Wei stepped in to help her. Jiao Wei was willing to be a representative along with Zitong for the other party. As long as they didn't continue to pursue Jianbei, Jiao Wei would agree to do anything. Su Ying was angry and felt sorry for his sacrifice. Even though she was invited by Jiao Wei to be a representative with Zi Tong felt like a winner. But when she learned that Jiao Wei had only agreed to work with Zi Tong because he wanted to help Jianbei, this made Zi Tong even angrier and more jealous of Jianbei. But then, she still agreed to work with him, knowing that Jiao Wei's heart only belonged to Jianbei. Su Ying was extremely disappointed and cried. She then mustered all her courage to write a resignation letter. During their conversation, Zi Tong had secretly recorded Jiao Wei, perhaps she wanted to cause trouble again to harm Jianbei further. Jianbei was angry at Wu Di's request. Wu Di wanted Shi Yun to deny their relationship at the press conference, but Shi Yun agreed to have a press conference with Jianbei, no matter how much it would put him at a disadvantage. It was just because he couldn't let Jianbei's career be ruined because of him. Unexpectedly, at the press conference, Jianbei directly announced her relationship with Shi Yun. Afraid that reporters would object, it was actually quite surprising that everyone congratulated the couple on their relationship. Receiving Su Ying's resignation letter, Jiao Wei sadly agreed. Even the other party wanted to continue their contract with Jianbei, but she bluntly refused. The previous issue hadn't died down when the recording of Jiao Wei's words was leaked, causing another uproar. The rumors about Jianbei rejecting Jiao Wei's confession made Jianbei have a headache once again. Knowing that Zi Tong was the one who had spread the news and twisted the truth, Jiao Wei immediately went to find her. But her arrogance really made Jiao Wei angry, and he left. Finally, Jiao Wei decided to do a live stream to tell the whole truth. All the lies recently had caused Jianbei's mental state to be affected by constant nightmares. But Shi Yun made the trouble disappear with the joy that he brought to her. Since going public with their engagement, Jianbei's work had not been going smoothly. After Jiao Wei's live stream, the company immediately froze all of his activities, making Jiao Wei really want to cancel his contract, but the compensation was too high. After going public with their relationship, Jianbei and Shi Yun felt more comfortable dating. During another date, they were photographed kissing. There was no telling how tired the lies would make Jianbei in the future. Now, all of the potential partners no longer wanted to work with Jianbei, making her manager, Wu Di, have a bit of a headache. Faced with the rumors about Jiao Wei, Su Ying was very worried about him. Jiao Wei couldn't sleep, but when he listened to the recording from Su Ying, he easily fell asleep. The photo of Shi Yun and Jianbei kissing was leaked online, even making Jianbei almost lose the opportunity to act a small role while she was happily playing with Shi Yun. Wu Di then called, saying that there was a director who wanted to invite Jianbei to be a stunt double because their actress was unfortunately injured. This made Wu Di extremely angry and she scolded him, but Jianbei readily agreed to take the role. When the company agreed to send the contract, Jiao Wei immediately investigated who that person was and went to the film set. Even though her appearance wasn't welcomed, Jianbei still felt happy. Zi Tong then asked Jianbei to go to a private place to practice lines. Zi Tong then pretended to be sick and made Jianbei stand outside in the cold weather while she sat in the car. Right there, Zi Tong angrily scolded Jianbei, just because she was jealous that everyone always surrounded and protected Jianbei. Zi Tong also took it upon herself to change the script, intentionally making Jianbei take a beating from her own hand. Luckily, Shi Yun's brother appeared in time to save Jianbei. As the largest investor, he decided to cancel Zi Tong's lead role, making her furious before she left in disgrace. Zi Tong still stubbornly threatened Jianbei. Shi Yun's older brother's actions made Jianbei a little worried about Zi Tong. But after hearing his older brother talk about the schemes that Zi Tong had caused for her, Jianbei was extremely surprised. It turned out that Shi Yun was the one always standing behind the scenes to protect Jianbei. After that, all the bad things that Zi Tong had caused were spread far and wide, and no directors wanted to work with her anymore. Thinking that she would be able to act in a new movie, when she heard Jianbei was chosen as the lead actress, Zi Tong angrily left. Jianbei then chased after her, talking to her gently and trying to have a conversation. Zi Tong then revealed all the jealousy that she had for Jianbei. The bond between Zi Tong and Jiao Wei had made his image in her heart very important. So, Zi Tong was really jealous of the feelings that Jiao Wei had for Jianbei, while only seeing her as a friend. But faced with the bad things that Zi Tong had caused, Jianbei still gently expressed her feelings. She truly saw Z Tong as a good sister, and in the end, Z Tong understood her mistakes. After telling Wu Di about it, Wu Di really admired Jianbei's heart. Su Ying's thoughtfulness moved Jiao Wei. Feeling a bit suspicious, Jiao Wei went to find someone to investigate who his gaming friend was. Jiao Wei tried every way to find out who his gaming friend was. Shi Yun received a very important award in the medical field, and to celebrate, Jianbei, Shi Yun, Yuan Song, and Wu Di all had hot pot together. Hearing that the upcoming film project was very difficult, Jianbei was still bold and wanted to apply. Faced with the huge award that Shi Yun had received, Jianbei also reminded herself to try her best to achieve a bigger award so everyone could see them as a match made in heaven. At the same time, Zitong also wanted to apply to participate in the Fierce project that Jianbei was thinking about, just to compete for the chance to participate. Jianbei decided to cut back on food to have a more ideal figure. Jianbei only dared to smell the breakfast that Shi Yun prepared for her, not daring to eat it. Seeing that Jianbei had to starve herself to lose weight, Shi Yun prepared her a meal that was full of nutrients, but would still help her lose weight effectively. Meeting at the interview, Zitong and Jianbei were more comfortable talking, ready to see each other as fair competitors. Shi Yun went to choose a beautiful ring, wanting to propose to Jianbei. Jianbei was happy to be selected for the training to choose the lead actress. Because the training would last for 2 months and be very strict, Jianbei was worried that she wouldn't be able to see Shi Yun. Yuan Song was invited to be the best man. He thought Wu Di wouldn't agree, but unexpectedly, she advised him to go. After just 1 day of training, Jianbei and Zitong felt extremely tired. When she learned that Shi Yun was the accompanying doctor during the training, Jianbei was truly surprised and happy. Jianbei's determination was proven by all the training indicators which showed that she had met the standards. Seeing that Jianbei was always trusting of Zitong, Wu Di reminded her to be careful. Jianbei was injured during training. Shi Yun was heartbroken and wanted her to stop training. The company had created an opportunity for Zitong to meet privately with the director. Shi Yun wanted to help Jianbei, so he met with a friend on the production team, but because he trusted Jianbei, he didn't interfere. Unexpectedly, this meeting was photographed by someone. After the training, Jianbei, although injured, was still worried about the results. She hoped that she would be chosen, and heaven didn't disappoint her. The director saw through Jianbei's efforts. She was the one chosen as the lead actress. Jianbei wanted to quickly share this joy with Shi Yun. Sadly, she wasn't able to contact him all day. Unexpectedly, when she returned home, Shi Yun had secretly prepared a party for Jianbei. As he was about to propose to Jianbei, the doorbell rang, making Shi Yun stop. It turned out to be Wu Di, coming to report that Shi Yun's meeting with the production team had been leaked and posted online with negative comments, suggesting that Jianbei had used connections to be chosen. This really angered Jianbei. She had misunderstood that it was because of Shi Yun that Jianbei had been chosen. Thinking that Shi Yun had used connections for her, Jianbei was extremely disappointed. She left, even though the party that Shi Yun had prepared hadn't even started. Jianbei was truly disappointed. Wu Di advised her to give up on acting in this film, but Jianbei refused, because this was an opportunity that she had struggled so hard to get. The trust that Wu Di had in Jianbei helped her feel more encouraged. Since the rumors came out, Shi Yun's attitude at work made the nurses feel unfamiliar with him. The emptiness in his home made Shi Yun a little heartbroken. Both Jianbei and Shi Yun couldn't stop thinking about this matter. Hearing Yuan Song report that Jianbei was still continuing to prepare for the movie made Shi Yun feel a little more at ease, even though Yuan Song comforted him by saying that Shi Yun wasn't really at fault. But he still blamed himself because he had doubted Jianbei's abilities. When Zitong learned that the company was the one who had spread the rumors, she immediately refuted it, but the company didn't listen. When Jiao Wei saw that action, he had a more positive view of Zitong. No matter what bad things people said about her, Jianbei still trusted her own abilities. Hearing Wu Di say that Shi Yun didn't do it intentionally, Jianbei still felt a little angry. Because he was afraid of the emptiness when he went home, Shi Yun continuously worked extra shifts at the hospital. The hospital director was heartbroken because his wife had cancer, and not being able to cure his own wife made him constantly berate himself. Jiao Wei kept searching for Su Ying. Su Ying's appearance after a long time of searching made Jiao Wei extremely emotional. Remembering the memories they had shared, Jiao Wei happily hugged Su Ying. Knowing that Su Ying was his longtime gaming friend made him even more emotional. Feeling a little down after continuously burying himself in work for many days, Yun was given permission to take a break. Listening to Yuan Song's advice, Yun finally realized it and immediately went to Jianbei's place to apologize, but when he got to her house, he heard Wu Di report that Jianbei was nowhere to be found. The film team wanted to cut Jianbei's role, so now no one could contact her. Yun and Wu Di immediately went to find Jianbei. Going to the places that were full of their memories, it turned out that Jianbei had gone back to her hometown. Instead of Jianbei's parents, they secretly took her phone and called Yun, ordering him to quickly come home to apologize to Jianbei. A little later, Yun arrived at the house, but Jianbei bluntly kicked him out. No matter how much her parents tried to persuade her, she wouldn't listen. But when Jianbei agreed to open the door for Yun, he was nowhere to be found. At this moment, she was really angry. Jianbei was faced with advice from other sides of herself. She felt a little moved. It was very cold, but Yun had still traveled a long distance to find Jianbei, but he had been chased away. She hesitated, not knowing whether she should text Yun or not. Seeing that Yun was still waiting outside the door for Jianbei, even though it was freezing outside, with snow falling all around, he was still there waiting for her. Seeing Yun like that, Jianbei felt heartbroken and ran down to hug him, agreeing to forgive Yun. They then shared a warm hug and kiss in the snow. Right there, Yun proposed to Jianbei. Happily, Jianbei agreed. Seeing the two of them happy, Jianbei's parents were also happy. No one dared to break that romantic atmosphere. The hospital director carefully took care of his wife, which made her a little sad. A little later, Jianbei and Yun remembered their past memories together and smiled. The next day, Jianbei took Yun to eat stinky tofu. At first, he was a little scared, but he dared to try it and then realized that it was very delicious. Returning to the city, Jianbei told Wu Di that Yun had proposed. Wu Di was extremely jealous. When asked about Yuan Song, Wu Di felt a little disappointed and said that he would never think of doing this. At the hospital, Yuan Song happily congratulated Yun on his successful proposal. Yun then advised him to quickly buy a ring and propose to Wu Di. Unexpectedly, Yuan Song immediately took out the ring that he had already bought, making Yun a little surprised. But Yuan Song didn't dare to propose because he was afraid that Wu Di was still afraid after her previous failed relationship. When Jianbei met Yun, she wondered if Yuan Song really loved Wu Di because he still hadn't proposed to her. After hearing Yun tell the story, Jianbei understood and was ready to help Yuan Song. Even with the support of Jianbei and Yun, Yuan Song still couldn't bring himself to propose to Wu Di. Hearing the conversation between Yuan Song and Yun, Wu Di was touched by his feelings. Knowing that Yuan Song wanted to propose to her, Wu Di was really looking forward to it. Seeing Yuan Song's awkwardness, Wu Di boldly proposed to him first, telling them to go register for marriage together. Hearing this, Yuan Song was overwhelmed with happiness. Memories between the two of them flashed by. Then they received news that Yun's grandmother's health was not good. Yun immediately thought about it and rushed back to his hometown. Yuan Song wondered when Yun and Jianbei would get married. Yun wasn't in a hurry and would wait until Jianbei really wanted to meet his grandmother. Jianbei then showed off the ring that Yun had used to propose. His grandmother saw it and was very happy. While eating, Jianbei felt a little nauseous. Her grandmother suspected that she was pregnant. Hearing this, Jianbei laughed a little. But her grandmother insisted that Jianbei looked like she was pregnant, making her feel a little confused because she wasn't ready, and she hoped that her grandmother would keep it a secret so Jianbei could give Yun a surprise. A little later, hearing Jianbei say she was pregnant made Yun happy. Returning to the city, Yun took Jianbei to live at his place. They went shopping together. She saw a pair of shoes that she hadn't been able to wear before. The next day, Wu Di brought a stack of scripts for upcoming film projects. Yinbai then announced that she was pregnant. Hearing this, Wu Di was surprised but angry that it was just what Jianbei had guessed and told her that she should get it checked to be sure. After getting a checkup and learning that she wasn't pregnant, both Jianbei and Yun felt a little disappointed. Yun comforted her and promised to wait until Jianbei really wanted to get married, and then they would have a wedding. On Jiao Wei's side, even though he received offers from companies, he still wanted to take a break. A little later, Zitong came to find him and said goodbye because she would be going abroad to develop her career in the near future. Hearing Wu Di say that Jianbei wasn't pregnant yet, Yuan Song mischievously wanted to get ahead of Shi Yun in this matter. The next day, Shi Yun was happy to be speaking at an international medical forum. This really made Yuan Song admire him. Zhao Wei had confessed to Su Ying right in the shopping center, making everyone jealous of their sweetness. To celebrate Shi Yun's successful speech, the group planned to go eat hot pot. But when they arrived at the hospital, they saw that Shi Yun was sad about the passing of the hospital director's wife. Shi Yun always felt tormented because he couldn't save his patients. Jianbei was also heartbroken and comforted him. Because of his wife's passing and a gift that his wife left behind, Shi Yun proposed marriage to Jianbei, not wanting to waste their time together. They quickly got married. A series of beautiful memories between the two were shown, and then they held their marriage certificate in their hands. Shi Yun and Jianbei were extremely happy, and then they both made their vows together in happiness. In an alternate world, there was a beautiful and talented female doctor named Jianbei, and a handsome actor named Shi Yun appeared and also wanted that crystal ball. Jianbei immediately gave it to the little girl. The stall owner took one look at them and praised that the two of them were a perfect match, even though Shi Yun was wearing a mask. A little later, seeing the little girl fall, Jianbei invited Shi Yun to take the little girl to her place so that she could treat her wounds. After treating the wounds, the little girl fell back asleep. Hearing a strange noise, Shi Yun was curious. Jianbei then took him to see the bird that she had saved when it was injured. The two of them fed the small bird together. Jianbei wondered why Shi Yun always wore a mask. Shi Yun then explained that it was because he was an actor. With her busy schedule as a doctor, Jianbei didn't have time to pay attention to movies, so she didn't know who he was. Jianbei really didn't know him. Shi Yun then took off his mask. His good looks made her a little surprised. A little later, the two of them sat down together to put back together the model house that Shi Yun had accidentally bumped into. It wasn't until dusk that they finished. Then hunger struck, and Shi Yun was able to show off his cooking skills. Jianbei was a little impressed by his talent. Suddenly, the power went out. Jianbei took out a candle. The flickering light of the candle made the meal a little more romantic. During the meal, Shi Yun asked Jianbei if she believed that in another world, their jobs were reversed. He was a doctor, and she was an actress. Jianbei did believe in that. A little later, even though it was just the light from a plane, they still made a wish together. Jianbei almost fell, but luckily Shi Yun caught her in his arms. This close moment made them both seem to be moved. At this moment, in another dimension, Jianbei had announced that Shi Yun was her fiancé in front of the reporters. A little later, the niece woke up, and Shi Yun and the little girl left immediately, leaving Jianbei feeling a little disappointed. She was about to run after her to give the little girl the crystal ball when the little girl gifted it to Jianbei. And then the two of them said goodbye and hoped to meet again. 1 year later, Shi Yun, as a famous actor, boldly announced his fiancé, Jianbei, on television. At this time, Jianbei asked him if he believed in another dimension, where there were also her and him in love. Shi Yun affirmed that he did believe it. 1 year later, still in this dimension, Shi Yun was unable to go on vacation with Jianbei because he was busy with surgery at the hospital. But this was actually a plan that Yuan Song had come up with in order to surprise her. Returning to her room and feeling gloomy in Shi Yun's absence, Jianbei looked at everything and felt bored. Then, the unexpected appearance of Shi Yun made her extremely happy. And then, she remembered that today was the anniversary of their marriage. It turned out that if they were meant to be together, no matter which dimension they were in, they would still belong to each other. This is where the story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to not miss out on more amazing videos. For now, goodbye and until next time.